Supporters are packed on the North Bank, have been in a record 11 FA Cup finals at Wembley and are bidding today to reach the semi-finals of the competition for the 16th time. While Aston Villa, whose fans celebrated the League Championship on this ground 2 years ago, have won the Cup 7 times, a record they share with Spurs, and have been in the semi-finals twice more even than Arsenal. But the team news shows both sides without their first-choice centre-half. For Arsenal, David O'Leary was keen to play, but Terry Neal decided after the ankle injury not to risk him, and at number 7 he's recalled Vladimir Petrovic in preference to Brian Talbot. Villa's Ken McNaught pulled a hamstring during Tuesday's match against Notts County, so Gary Williams returns to the side at centre-back, and Eamon Deasy keeps the number 2 shirt. At number 11, Tony Morley is back after a neck injury. He comes in for Mark Walters. Referee is Ken Wormsley from Blackpool. Quite a test for the 2 number 5s then. Gary Williams, who would normally play right back, but has played central defence before. And for Arsenal, Chris White, the England under-21 international. So Aston Villa, who've been beaten on their last 4 visits to Highbury, playing from right to left in the first half. And the first header for White, and then it was Nicholas for Arsenal. Sun shining on a beautiful afternoon, and the prize at stake, a place in the FA Cup semi-final. Arsenal's season now depends entirely on that. Aston Villa, though still technically in Europe and 4th in the First Division, would love to add the FA Cup to the trophies they've won in the last 2 years. That's meant for Peter With. It was White's clearance. Up goes Des Bremner, and he fouls. Here's Woodcock. A long throw by Sansom, searches out Davis. Petrovic almost got a foot in. Mortimer's poor clearance, volleyed again, Woodcock. What a good effort by the England player on the turn. Beautifully struck. It was a convenient height and position in a way for Spink, but an instant volley by Woodcock. Evans. Oh, it was nicely tucked on to Morley by Shaw. Morley against Hollins, that could be interesting. Shaw's there! And Aston Villa, believing that Morley's pace on the left will trouble the veteran John Hollins, almost reaped dividends. The ball was played in early, and Gary Shaw got the header just wide. A good ball by White. Woodcock nudged it on to Sunderland, who looked for Davis. Shaw. Now Gibson. There's a good understanding between Ricks and Sansom, even when the play is deep in their own half. He worked a little triangle there with Davis, and in the end, the referee penalised Alan Sunderland. For foot up. Robson's header, here comes Shaw, and it might fall for With on the left foot, which he favours. Peter With's got a good recent record. In his last 6 games, he's scored 6 goals. And that one dropped for him after Shaw had initially given Arsenal some problems. Good header by Alan Sunderland. Woodcock away, but he showed too much of that to Alan Evans. who gets the throw. That was a nice flick by Alan Sunderland. Mortimer stretching a bit. Nicholas beat him. Davis. Good skill. Oh, good effort! And this lad, Paul Davis, really has got some smart close control and can strike a beautiful ball. In the replay against Middlesbrough in the last round, he scored from 25 yards, and he was quite prepared to try his luck again there. Sansom. DC and Ricks. So much of Arsenal's play goes down that left-hand side. Here's Woodcock. Ricks. Tony Woodcock, a left-sided player, and with Davis often on that side as well, and Ricks and Sansom, it's here that Villa are going to have to keep it tight. They didn't then. Sansom and Petrovic, and Davis coming through, and the header drops wide. But another sign that Arsenal will examine the right-hand side of the Villa defence. Kenny Sansom with the cross, the little touch by Petrovic, and Paul Davis, having a good first half here, came through with the final effort. Des Bremner on the right-hand side. Watson will get the throw there, I fancy, off Peter With. Half an hour gone, no score. Territorially, the match belongs to Arsenal, but Villa have had the two best chances. Shaw's header and With shot. Sunderland is up. Free kick then. Ricks to drive it. Here's Sansom. Away by DC. Cowans is still picking himself up. Couldn't get to the ball. Ricks played it in. Sansom hooked it back. Sunderland. Woodcock. 1-0 to Arsenal. Tony Woodcock. And Gordon Cowans was hurt initially by the driven free kick from Ricks and never regained his feet. And that's why Aston Villa couldn't shut down the second attack. Ricks and Sansom, the ball played in, bounced free, and Woodcock finished it. 31 minutes gone, Tony Woodcock's 15th goal for Arsenal. Opportunism by Woodcock. Villa might have thought indeed on the left there the ball was going to go out, but it didn't when Sansom hooked it back. Kenny Sansom, who supplied the incision there, and Tony Woodcock, who was on hand to finish. Davis. Villa are going to have to get hold of the game in midfield if they're going to recover from this. Offside would have been given, it will, against Peter With. Because although With had a chance early on, Arsenal have dominated the first 35 minutes here and deserved the lead on the balance of play. Sunderland. Petrovic. Sunderland again. Petrovic. Nicholas will retrieve. Good ball. Hollins. Sunderland. Oh, Petrovic with a chance. 2-0 Arsenal. Vladimir Petrovic. What a way to come back when your future's in doubt. And what a good move. Fine play by Peter Nicholas to put John Hollins in. Hollins releasing Petrovic. He saw the gap. And the unerring finish there into the far corner puts Aston Villa 2 goals down on a ground where they never seem to do well. 30. Well, this time Gibson's gone forward as well as Evans. Cowans floats it. Evans comes in, and Gibson, the ricochet off right, I think. Anyway, here's Petrovic, and he's got Sunderland and Woodcock forward with him. Gibson striving to get back, to get a tackle in. Here's Sunderland. Worked that well. Ricks. Very often, Graham Ricks threatens to score with a header, but that was a fine move by Arsenal. Villa are getting Mark Walters ready because 2-0 down. They've got to push on the extra forward now. Eamon Deasy will go off. And I rather think that Des Bremner may drop back into a deeper position and allow Walters to try and create something further forward for Aston Villa. Here's Gibson. And that's one intended for Morley, but Sansom was always favourite. Bremner. Shaw. Villa must get something now if they're going to turn the course of this cup tie, which has always seemed to be drifting away from them. There are 8 minutes left. They have a corner. There's still time. And with a header. Oh, and Jennings needed just a little bit of help on the line. Kenny Sansom there with the goalkeeper on the post as With banged the header in. And there's With again, underside, Walters off the line, Sansom. Well, Kenny Sansom needed twice in a matter of a minute. And on the break, Woodcock. Peter With's header clouted the crossbar. Walters got a foot to the rebound and Kenny Sansom cleared off the line. With Morley. Had a quiet match. Bremner. And Sansom could put one of 2 players away here. He's got Davis to his left. Still Sansom. And Kenny Sansom, who was being teased by Tony Woodcock last night about never having scored this season, almost put that right. Well, they went out the Milk Cup in the semi-final, did Arsenal, but it looks as though Don Howe and Terry Neal got it right today to qualify for a semi-final in the other major knockout competition. Mistake by Gibson and Ricks and Petrovic. We're going into time added on for stoppages. Highbury in a mood of celebration here. Sunderland. Evans took him on the line. Chipped in for Sunderland, and there it is. Arsenal are in their 7th semi-final in the last 13 seasons, and Tony Woodcock is there for the first time in his career, having scored the first goal. And Vladimir Petrovic, the man who may or may not stay with Arsenal, has surely done his chances a power of good by scoring the second after being left out for 3 matches. Arsenal keep the flag flying for London in the FA Cup. And for Aston Villa, their season now depends really on either winning in Turin handsomely on Wednesday or else finishing high enough in the league to go into the UEFA Cup. They were well beaten today, not making the most of their chances, and Arsenal all round looked the more powerful side.
Well, no arguments about that result, I imagine, and Arsenal's astonishing capacity for getting to Wembley seems to be continuing. And that being the case, it might pose career problems for their captain yesterday, John Hollins, who at 36, and despite being enticed to become a manager, still plays as if it's his first season.